Fooled you guys. Actually, no, I didn't fool you. Forgot I had that picked as my default intro. Definitely wasn't going to allow you to go through 5 minutes of waiting. Okay, I am going to play the real intro in a second, though. But so normally every time I come on here and I talk about sports, I either have a segment of the batter's box where we talk strictly about baseball, or either all out blitz and then my go-to football show, which is usually Monday morning quarterback, but that's generally during the season. We usually do that during the season of football, and we talk about the game, the games that happened the day before. So all out blitz is usually like, the go-to stream that we use to talk about football news or whatever. But today I figure, you know what? Let me try to condense everything because there's been a lot of things happening in both worlds of baseball and football, my two favorite sports. And I figured let me just talk about everything that has transpired within the last week or so, especially the last couple of days. And I'll go over that really quick. And I won't take up too much of your time. But coming after this, just your average sports. All right, guys. So I'm going to start with the what I think is the biggest news. And when I say biggest news, if I had to pick the biggest news, I would probably go Freddie Freeman to the Dodgers. But I think just the surprise factor, I think the biggest news, honestly, well, two big ones actually, but we're going to start with this one. Deshaun Watson to the Cleveland Browns. Now, I don't know if anybody predicted this. I don't know if anybody's seen this coming. I know I certainly didn't. And I know at one point, the Browns actually announced publicly that they were out, they were in contact with Deshaun. I know that angered Baker, and I know Baker wants out. And where Baker Mayfield's going to end up going now, I have no idea. I think the Colts are favored. Who knows? But the Colts have been favored to get everybody. But they haven't landed anybody yet. So with a lot of moves that have taken place, especially in the quarterback position, with Carson Wentz going to the Commanders, Russell Wilson now a part of, hold on a second, the Broncos. Sorry, took me a second. And that AFC West is stacked, but now you got the Browns, who they did release Landry. So Jarvis Landry is no longer on the team, but I am a little, I'm intrigued by what they're doing as far as building now that they got the Browns. I mean, now that they got Watson, but the problem is, though, is what it took for them to get Watson. So I have it up here. Hold on really quick. So the Browns received Watson and a 2024 fifth-round pick, and they sent Texans 3 first-round picks. Not 2, but 3 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and a 4th-round pick. So they didn't send Baker. They didn't have to send a player in the deal. It was literally just all picks. So 5 picks total, 3 first round, 1 third, and 1 fourth, all to get Deshaun Watson. And I'm assuming he's going to play. The criminal charges were dropped. I'm assuming a civil suit is going to happen now. And whether the league wants to reprimand him and hand out any suspensions is yet to be known. But for the most part, it looks like he's going to play. I mean, and I think that's what the Browns are waiting to hear. And so that's big. And then, of course, the other head scratcher is this. Davantae Adams to the Raiders. Now, we all thought with Rodgers coming back as a Packer, signing an extension, who knows what's going to happen with Jordan Love. I'm assuming they're going to keep Jordan Love as a backup and just going to have to sit like Rodgers did to Favre. But many were under the impression, at least I was, that was going to force Davantae Adams to stay. And they traded him to the Raiders for, hold on. They got, I know it was just picks. They sent the 1st and 2nd round picks to Green Bay for Davantae Adams. So the Raiders, let me tell you something. The Raiders went from being, on the cusp, making the playoffs, out of the playoffs, to a contender now. And that's why I'm saying like that AFC West is stacked. I like Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is a really good quarterback. I think with a weapon like Davantae Adams, just solidify, and they have a decent defense. We already know about Max Crosby. They have a good defense. They got one of the better tight ends in the league. But as far as what this type of player adds to the Raiders, it's some scary shit. And that AFC West, I can't say enough about that. But so what the AFC is building, and I know the Bucks and Brady's back, and that was big news. And I'll talk about that briefly, but we all knew he was coming back. I'm just surprised he came back to the Bucks because of what we knew as far as free agents were going. Well, who was going to come back and who wasn't. They did just sign Chris Godwin to an extension, which is good because that's a key weapon that Brady's definitely going to need. So I'm interested in seeing who else they're going to pick up and who else they're going to sign. Von Miller, I do want to, that's not one of my bubbles here, but Von Miller going to the Bills, that's another thing I didn't see coming. I thought he might stay with LA, and I know the Cowboys were trying to get him, but him going to the Bills, I mean, that just makes that defense even scarier. My brother's a big Buffalo Bill fan. As a fan of the team, he wants them to sign a corner, and I think they definitely need to. Nothing against Micah Hyde, and I forgot who else they got in the secondary. I know one of them went down an injury. I know it wasn't Hyde that went down the injury. It was another one that went down the injury, and so I know they definitely need help in the secondary area. So who knows if they're going to pick anybody up there? But those are the key moves so far that that have transpired, especially in the last couple of days, that I want to talk about it as far as football goes. Let me know in the comments what you think. What do you think about Deshaun Watson now being a Cleveland Brown? Where do you think Baker Mayfield's going to end up? There were rumors that he might come to the Giants. I don't know. I have no idea. We just signed Tyrod Taylor, which was another move. Giants really haven't made any other moves other than signing free agent offensive linemen. So I guess I don't know what that means, what they might do in the draft. I know a lot of people are predicting in their mock drafts they're going to go with an edge rusher for the 5th pick and their 7th pick, maybe a lineman. But now that they're addressing the line within the free agency, maybe they not trade up, but maybe they trade that pick for something else. So that's remains to be seen. But I do want to talk now about baseball. And if I missed anything on the football front, I apologize. But I really wanted to keep this show short because there's a lot of news. But this was the big one. There were a lot of talks. The heavy hitters of the free agency were last to go. Correa wasn't signed. Freeman wasn't signed. Chris Bryant wasn't signed. Where are these guys going? And then within a few days of each other, they all were signed. Bryant went to the Rockies. Correa just got signed to the Twins today, which I didn't see coming. I honestly thought he was going to do a short deal with the Astros, and or they were going to come up with an extension and just sign him, for a good amount of years. But the Twins, look, we know the Twins sent Donaldson to the Yankees, so don't have to worry about that. And Isaiah Kiner that they got from the Rangers. Now they had that money to free up, and they said, you know what? All right, well, we're gonna get our shortstop, and it definitely fills a hole that they lost, and they have Gio Urshela that they got from the Yankees at 3rd. You got Buxton up the middle. You got a pretty damn good lineup in the Twins. But I'm trying to think of who else they got. Hold on a second. Hold on. Do I not have it? I thought I have it up. Anyway, it doesn't matter because I want to talk about this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the Dodgers, and I want to talk about Freddie Freeman going to the Dodgers. We'll get to the Twins a little later. But with Freddie Freeman on the Dodgers, this is what a possible lineup is going to look like. And you can even sub 1 or 2 of these out because, Gavin Lux, at the moment, what I'm looking at right now, at their projected starting lineup, they don't have Gavin Lux in there. Gavin Lux will be utilized, trust me. But you got Mookie Betts, obviously, their star right fielder. Trey Turner, And this is what they have as far as the lineup goes. So you got Mookie Betts at the top, Trey Turner with blazing fast speed and short, Freddie Freeman coming in in the third spot, Justin Turner behind him, Max Muncy, Will Smith, Chris Taylor, Cody Bellinger, and AJ Pollock. And like I said, of course, some lineups are going to have something different. I'm sure they're going to plug in Gavin Lux somewhere. And I feel like there's somebody else they don't have in this lineup. But Gavin Lux, they got guys like Michael Bush and and other guys that are on the bench. But either way, this is you're pretty much your solid 1 through 9 lineup that they're going to be rolling out for the most part of the season. Obviously barring any injuries. But that is a scary thing. And ever since the Dodgers came up in that conversation of where Freddie Freeman might land, right? I know the Yankees were salivating over him for a good amount of time. You had until they signed Rizzo. You had the Blue Jays pursuing him, which it was literally, look, the two teams I didn't want to land Freddie Freeman were the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. And as a Mets fan, obviously, I'm not saying what I was talking to my co-host about the last time we were on. I'm not saying that I need Steve Cohen to open up his checkbook for every single free agent out there. I'm not. But when you're talking about a strategy, when you talk about being on the defense and doing an acquisition, whether it's going to cost you the money or not, but doing an acquisition to block a club, a really, really good club, into being, the best in the league, you gotta think about what I don't know. That's how I would do it. Obviously, I'm not a businessman. I'm not a general manager. I'm not an owner of a sports team. But this is a very scary lineup. This is a very scary team. And we all know about their rotation. I know we got Scherzer. I know they don't have Scherzer anymore, but they signed Clayton Kershaw. They still have Kershaw back. They have Walker Buehler. They have the young Dustin May, Julio Urias. They have a really good rotation as well. And they just lost Kenley Jensen to free agency, and the Braves picked him up. But they still have a solid bullpen. They still have a solid lineup, rotation rather. And then of course that scary lineup. And then on the flip side, really quick, because you got to talk about this, because this is in our division. And it's just like, what is going on? Because, all right, so Nick Castellanos goes to the Phillies. Talk about that in a second. But from a Mets perspective, yes, we made a huge splash right before the lockout. Went out and got our starting center fielder, if he does start center field. Whether we platoon him or put Nimmo there, I don't know. But for the most part, Starling Marte is our starting center fielder. Okay. So you get Starling Marte, good average, but 47 stolen bases last year, which ties his career, I believe, when he was a all-star. I'm not looking up anything right now. I do remember looking it up the other day, and I'm pretty sure 2016 with the Pirates was his last all-star year, and he also had 47 stolen bases then. So we're going to get that stolen base threat. He's got a good on-base percentage. He's got a good batting average. So he's going to be a good hitter, okay? Not much pop, but he's got it, but not much pop. Then you got Marcana, left field, right field, wherever they're going to plug him. Definitely declined in the power, but still a decent bat. Okay, and decent bat from the right side. So he'll have a good bat coming from the as a righty. And then Nimmo will be plugged wherever he's going to be plugged. And we all know what we can expect from Brandon Nimmo. But then we also get Eduardo Escobar and Max Scherzer. So those were the other guys that rounded up. Scherzer just makes a top of the rotation, which was already good with DeGrom, even better. But obviously the question marks are, how Scherzer going to pitch here in New York? And of course, how is DeGrom going to pitch after having multiple injuries last year? So that's a big question mark. As far as, of course, we just signed Chris Bassett. Okay. Which is a great third guy in the rotation, easily. I mean, he could be an ace in other ball clubs, but as far as here goes, obviously he's going to be third in your rotation. So that was probably one of my favorite pickups, and especially it's one of the more recent. But then we signed like a minor league deal to Mike Montgomery. We're going to work out Alex Claudio. We just re-signed Chase and Shreve, who we already had a couple of years ago. So they really haven't done much as far as bullpen other than sign Adam Ottavino, which it's like pick your poison. Keep Familiar or Adam Ottavino. Are we going to get Rockies Ottavino? We're going to get ERAs in the high fours Ottavino. So that's another thing. Okay. So they really did nothing to improve their bullpen, especially from a lefty standpoint. You have no starting left-hand pitchers unless David Peterson's going to show any promise this spring. You have no lefties in your starting rotation. And yeah, okay, Eduardo Escobar, Lindor, McNeil, Alonso, McCann or Nito, whatever, whoever's going to catch. And then, of course, the outfield that I mentioned, okay, on paper, it sounds decent. But look at the moves that your other teams are making. Look at what the Jays and the Rangers built. The Twins just getting Correa on an already good young team. The Dodgers, forget about the Dodgers. The Dodgers are stacked. But now the Phillies just add Nick Castellanos, and this is what their lineup is going to look like. Gene Segura, Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, Kyle Schwarber, another bat they just added. Their power hitting first baseman, Rhys Hoskins, JT Realmuto. We already know what JT can do. The young third baseman, Alex Bohm, Didi Gregorius in short, and Odubel Herrera. So that's another thing that they might try to tweak is their outfield. But for the most part, that lineup and of course their pitching, they picked up Familia, which, okay, good. You can have Familia. They also signed Brad Hand. We had Brad Hand, I think we got him on waivers from the Blue Jays last year. And he did decent. But again, it's a left-handed arm that we don't have anymore. So it's just when you compare the splash that we've made as the Mets to what other teams are doing, it's scary, especially within our division. And like I said, what the Braves have added, they got Matt Olson. Obviously, they lost Freeman, but Matt Olson, if you compare Matt Olson and Freddie Freeman's numbers, Freddie Freeman batting average-wise is better, but I believe Olson had a little bit more pop and a little bit more RBIs if you compare. I remember they had the graphic on the screen when the deals were happening, and they compared Olson and Freeman. Not much. There's really not much apart. But that bullpen for the Braves, after they add Kenley Jansen, it's like, hold on. You already got Will Smith, Tyler Matzik, Luke Jackson, AJ Minter. You picked up Colin McHugh, which I was hoping maybe the Mets would get. Kirby Yates is on the 60-day IL. So I don't know when he's going to come back. He missed all of last year. The Braves signed him late last year, I think in November, to like a 2-year deal. So I don't know when he's going to come back. I'm assuming middle of the season, but they got Kirby Yates and now Jansen. And this is your defending champions. These are your defending champions. So in the grand scheme of things, what did the Mets do? What did the Mets do? It's just scary, and then of course, deals like this, talk about another team that's stacking up. Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez go to the Mariners in a trade. The Reds and A's literally had fire sales. They just sent everybody. The Oakland A's and what do you call it? I know their starting pitchers. I know Frankie Montes, I'm sorry, and Sean Manaea are being targeted by other teams. Nothing's been done yet. So that remains to be seen. But obviously, and we'll talk about that in a second, they sent their third baseman, Matt Chapman, to the Blue Jays, another team that's fucking stacked. And Jesse Winker and Suarez can hit. Suarez can really, he can crush. Jesse Winker, you got what? Ty France, Jesse Winker, Mitch Haniger, Suarez. Are you kidding me? All on the same team? I don't know. And then, of course, as I said, Matt Chapman to the Blue Jays. And I know I'm all over the place because, like I said, there's a lot of things that happen, and talking about what transpired, yes, but at the same time, I'm also talking about the effects that it has, I feel, around the league, and versus and in comparison and contrast to what my team has done in the free agency, and just looking at not only the division rivals that have bolstered their teams, but all around the league, and Matt Chapman to the Blue Jays. I mean, you already got Vladimir Jr., right? You got Vladdy Guerrero Jr. You got Bo Bichette at short. Uh, you got Kevin Biggio. And they're already talking about trying to get Jose Ramirez, trying to get him from the Guardians and maybe play second, obviously, because Chapman's your third baseman. But if you get Jose Ramirez, then you got who's that? The young kid. You got Jensen at catcher, but the Kirk, right? I think Kirk was your other catcher. Alejandro Kirk or something like that. I'm sorry, I'm not the rotation. The lineup is not in front of my face, but I'm free balling this. Obviously George Springer in your outfield, Grichuk, Lourdes Gurriel. I think I'm saying that right. I think he's still on your team. But yeah, and then of course, so I already said Vladdy. Vladdy's your first baseman. And I also too, guys. I can't remember which team they said was very, very right-hand heavy, and I'm going along the lines, trying to go down. I think it was the Jays, because if I'm not mistaken, that's very right-handed heavy. You imagine that Michael Conforto, and obviously being a Mets fan, I know about Michael Conforto. I mean, I know the rest of the league does too, but Michael Conforto still hasn't gone anywhere. And I know a lot of Mets fans were rumbling about maybe picking him back up. Maybe he can come down from his amount, what he wants, adding a left-handed at bat, maybe even at the DH spot or in the outfield platooning. But you put Michael Conforto, because now that I actually typed in Blue Jays lineup, some of the trending news that's happening is, what if they pick up Michael Conforto? Can you imagine having that left-handed bat on the Blue Jays team? And and also you want to talk about the Blue Jays, right? So you pick up Matt Chapman. Okay, obviously that makes a good infield, an even better infield. But look at their starting rotation. Last year they had Matz. Matz is a Cardinal now. But we said the one weak spot that they had, I think Robbie Ray was your best pitcher, right? But the one weak spot that they had, and I think Ray is Ray's on the Mariners now, was their pitching. Their lineup was already going to give you runs. We knew that, with Vladdy, Springer, and Springer was out for a good portion of the year too. I mean, I should know. I had him on my fantasy team. So he was out for a good amount. And then when he came back, but Grichuk, I'll tell you one thing though, Randall Grichuk, I had him as my backup, and I started him in place of the injured Springer. He performed very well. But their rotation now, you got Jose Barrios. They picked up Gausman. You still got Ryu. You got Alex Manoah, the young right-handed, and they also have that prospect Nate Pearson, right? And I know I'm missing somebody else. I know there's another person that you can throw in there as far as starters go. But are you serious? And this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about with as far as where the league can go and who could be like. I know everybody's always got to put the Yankees up there. Yes, the Yankees picked up Rizzo and of course, and the Twins also picked up Gary Sanchez from the Yankees. So they also got Gary Sanchez in there, as long as, as well as Carlos Correa, which I'll get into in a second. But everybody wants to talk about the Yankees and whatever, but I think the Blue Jays, I honestly think, and I know it's on paper and anything could happen, injuries. I know, and I know a season is a very long season. I know that. And a lot of things could happen, right? But I think the Blue Jays, the Dodgers, the Mariners, even the Rangers. I don't even have the Rangers things in front of me. The amount of moves that the Rangers made, and they're still not done. They still picked up a couple of things in the last couple of days. I just can't. You know what? While we're on here, why not? But as a Mets fan, look, I wanna have faith in my team. Oh yeah, they also picked up they got obviously Mitch Garver. They sent what do you call it? Kiner Isaiah Kiner Falefa, or Falifa, however you say it, but Isaiah Kiner to the what do you call it? To the Twins, and then they obviously sent him to the Yankees. But Mitch Garver, Marcus Simeon, Corey Seager. I mean, holy wow. And they're talking about getting Trevor Story because Trevor Story is the last guy to not have been signed. Um, Trevor Story is the big one. I know the Red Sox were actively pursuing him. Um, sorry guys, really quick. I'm just trying to look up Rangers roster. I don't know why. Yeah, no thanks. Rangers roster. Just that's all I want. Rangers roster. All right, so I said Garver, right? Lowe is a good first baseman. They got Brad Miller, Corey Seager, Nick Solak, Marcus Simeon, um, obviously Garcia in the outfield. I mean, what is their what's their starting rotations? John Gray. All right, all right. There's the way they had that laid out. It was a little difficult, and I don't want to stand here and just try to like kind of look at every position. But yes, so and then of course, like I said, Carlos Correa to the Twins. And I know I put this out before, but yeah, I'll talk about it. I mean, I didn't expect that to happen, but with what the Twins got, again, getting rid of Josh Donaldson to the Yankees, picking up Gary Sanchez, now picking up Correa, and having the other guys on the team in Buxton. I know I said I was going to pull this up before, so let me pull this up now. Twins lineup. Starting lineup. Here we go. This is the lineup here. All right. This is not their lineup per se, but this is the people that they have on their team. Buxton, Polanco. We all know about Miguel Sano. If he still stays healthy, obviously. Kepler, Jeffers, Trevor Larnach, and Nick Gordon. And then I want to go to some others just so they're not missing anything. You got Jake Cave still, Alex Kirilloff. We said Gio Urshela, who they picked up from the Yankees. Gary Sanchez, and the list goes on. So the Twins have a decent team. I'm not saying that they're going to be the favorites. I think the White Sox are favored in that division, in the Central. So yeah, all right, I'm gonna do really quick. This is what I'm gonna do. I don't have the graphic up, so work with me here, guys. Really quick, I think the favorites in each division, as far as I go, without looking at any power rankings, without really looking up every single team transaction that transpired in the last few months. But I would have to go Blue Jays. I know the Yankees are always in contention, but I'm going to go Blue Jays favorite in the AL East. AL Central, I'm going White Sox. AL West, I'm going to go Mariners. I know the Rangers made big moves, but I'm going to go the Mariners because the Mariners, I believe, were one game away from even making the playoffs. I think the last game of the season, they were eliminated. I think it was because of a Boston win or something like that. I think that's what it was. So the Mariners nearly made the playoffs last year, and they've improved a lot. So the West, it could go either way. I know the Angels made some impactful moves by getting Syndergaard and Aaron Loop from my team and a few other moves. Obviously, they got best player in baseball in Mike Trout, but also don't forget Ohtani. Ohtani is even more electric than Trout. So they'll be up there, but I think Mariners probably AL West. NL East, it's definitely not the Mets. I'm sorry. I will say it. I want to give it to the Braves just because they're the defending champions, and with the moves they've made. Matt Olson is very comparable to a Freeman, maybe not in the batting average area, but it's definitely comparable numbers wise. And, once they get Acuna back and that bullpen that they build up, as well as that young rotation. I mean, I know Charlie Morton's not young, but their rotation. But then you got the Phillies. I can't. It's a toss up there. Well, let me come back. National League Central. Who won last year? It was the Brewers, right? Cardinals made some upgrades, but it's hard because the Cardinals are always in there, right? Always contention. They always find a way to make the postseason, even though the Brewers won the division. And Brewers have a really good team. I don't know if any other trades are going to be made. I know there's been rumors of Josh Hader being shopped, so I have no idea as far as that, but they still have a decent bullpen. So I don't know. I mean, that's another division where it's like, okay. I mean, the Reds just had a fire sale, so I don't know if the Reds are going to do anything. But, Pirates, no. I'll just, I'm going to go Brewers by default because they won the division last year, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Cardinals win the division. Yeah. So, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going Cardinals. Cardinals in the Central, and in the West, I got to go Dodgers. I have to, especially with Tatis being out for almost 3 months. I know the Padres are looking to make an acquisition. I can't remember what it was, but they're looking to get a bat just to help out with the absence of Tatis. They still have a decent team. They still have a really good lineup and a young team without Tatis, but that's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard to compete with the Dodgers. And look, the Giants won the division last year, so but I don't know. The Giants lost some key pieces. I don't know if the Giants, they lost obviously Kevin Gausman. They lost Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant's the Rockies now. I don't think the Rockies, although they have a decent young team, I don't think the Rockies, no. So I'm going to go the Dodgers. And again, I'm just going to go Cardinals just to make a pick for the Central. But that's my those are my early division picks. And hopefully I'm wrong in the East. Obviously NL East. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully the Mets can pull it off. And with the expanded playoff games and the structure of 12 teams making it, I know it's not the 14 team format that they went with in 2020 to make it, a little bit more open for a 60-game season. But it's obviously more than the 10-game structure that we usually have. So 12 games, let's see. It's a wait and see. But yeah, so those are some of the key moves that I wanted to talk about really quick with you guys. Drop a comment. Let me know what you feel or how you feel about some of the moves that were made. Did it impact your favorite team? Was one of your favorite teams ones that made these deals? And again, I know I kind of like try to compact it and talk about a lot in one sitting, but I did want to at least come on here and talk about it because these moves were big, and I know I'm missing a few, so I apologize. I'm probably going to come on here again soon, maybe with a co-host, maybe even to do a live stream, get some of your feedback live. That would be great. But yeah, guys, again, some big news in NFL, but even bigger news in MLB. Recap: Freddie Freeman to the Dodgers, Carlos Correa to the Twins, Nick Castellanos to the Phillies, Jesse Winker and Suarez traded to the Mariners, Matt Chapman traded to the Blue Jays, and of course, in the NFL, Deshaun Watson to the Cleveland Browns, and Davantae Adams, now a Raider. And I know there's going to be more news to come before the NFL starts. Obviously, draft's coming up next month, but we're going to have some. Baker's got to go somewhere, right? Colts still need a quarterback. Some other teams still need a quarterback. So let's wait and see. But guys, enjoy. Hopefully you enjoy your weekend. Happy St. Joseph's Day, if that is your name. So happy name day or St. Joseph's Day. If you do celebrate, I am Joseph. So, I do celebrate. But guys, more importantly, enjoy your weekend. And I will talk to you all really soon. Okay, have a great day.